In today's video, we're going to take a look at the daily chart of Euro futures, and this was a trade setup that I totally blew. Now, it doesn't mean that my subscribers blew it, but I did, and I'll tell you why. So, one of the things that I like to watch are timing cycles, okay? And I did find that we had a confluence of timing cycles for a possible high in the euro between the 28th through the 30th. Now, we had some of the resistance that was on the daily chart already, but it was only recently that I added some of the projections from these internal swings, and that can actually be rather helpful because it did give you some price relationships that you're never going to find by just using these larger swings alone. So I kind of blew that there, but with knowing that we had the time resistance to the rally, we were watching for a possible high and reversal back down. And this is what ended up happening. This is a 30-minute chart. This is a chart that you can use to enter swing trade against these key decisions. And what I like to see on this time frame is I like to see that after, stalling at resistance or timing, that we see a reversal. The reversal that I want to see is, well, a moving average crossover, and I like to use the 834 EMA combo. And as you can see, we finally did kind of start crossing over to the downside over here. But then I also like to see it take out a prior swing low, indicating a reversal of the pattern. So for example, on the left-hand side of the chart, you're looking at a pattern of higher highs and higher lows. Where did it also shift pattern by taking out a prior swing low? Well, it took out a prior swing low here, it took out another one over here, and all that good stuff. So those were some of the reasons to look at the possible short. Once both of those things occurred, then there was something to do there. Well, of course I missed it, but then there are secondary entries that you can look at, and here was the secondary entry that I also missed. And this comes from taking the prior rally swings and comparing them and projecting this prior low to high swing from the new low over here. Once it bounced, this was an almost perfect symmetrical projection. This was a secondary entry after the initial sell trigger, and I missed that also. So in other words, I totally blew it. Okay, just because you have the work doesn't mean that you catch all of these trades. So just wanted to share that with you, but I'm also going to share the next two decisions, and I don't know if either of these will hold or whether you'll get a bounce or not. But when there is a confluence of 3 or more price relationships, I do watch for that. So here, the next immediate decision comes in with a 786 retracement of one swing, a 618 of another, and a 50% of another. But then the one that looks a little bit more interesting to me comes in down here, and again, for a possible bounce at a minimum, is a 100% projection of one swing, a 100% projection of another swing, 786 of another, and then 618 of a larger swing. So those are the next two key decisions on the way down. These are areas to watch for a possible bounce. You may not get signals to take a trade against those zones, but they're definitely ones that you want to watch. What I like to say is that you want to take this work from one decision to the next. So here was the last decision that I totally blew for myself, and here are the next decisions on the way down.